What are the major obstacles and barriers that you can see that you think that we need to overcome to really get that widespread Bitcoin adoption?
I think education is so key because Bitcoin is just so volatile. People think that it's unsafe and they think that it's a scam, when in fact, Bitcoin is extremely new technology. And the idea of something being so volatile in its youth isn't a new idea. Amazon in its first few years had huge gains, and then it crashed around 90% 3 or 4 times in the early 2000s. And we're just seeing a case of new technology. So this is really, really common. But I would encourage people to look at the chart, zoom out, and understand that overall we are making higher lows. We're moving up and to the right. So education is really key. We also need to explain to people what the problem is. Why do we need Bitcoin? People don't really realize why they need it. They don't understand that when your money is sitting in a bank, it's simply like an IOU. The bank owns it. The bank can rehypothecate it, which they do. They take very risky moves with your money, which then causes all sorts of financial problems on a greater scale. We saw that happen in 2008 and many times after that. We don't teach people about inflation. I don't think I had a conversation once about inflation when I was younger in school. It's only something which you really figure out once you're in the real world and you're shopping and you're thinking, wow, this steak definitely didn't cost this much money 2 years ago. When you're trying to buy a house and you speak with your grandparents and you hear what they bought their house for. I think my grandfather in 1950 something, let's say 1953, I think he bought a house in northern England for £3,000. £3,000. It's probably now much higher, obviously, you can imagine. And so it's only once you have these conversations that you understand. And so I think education is the most important thing for mass adoption. And I also think, and I know we'll get to this later on, but I also think the more governments behave in an authoritarian manner, the more people will wake up to Bitcoin. So throughout 2020 and 2021 during COVID, it's very interesting. A lot of people said that they were actually extremely orange pilled during that moment because they saw how the Canadians protested for the rights to their own body and they had their bank accounts frozen down. It's truly unbelievable. And Bitcoin obviously became this incredible tool for that. On top of that, we're now seeing in England and in the US, I'm not really sure about Australia. I'm sure it's probably pretty similar, to be honest. But people are also having their bank accounts shut down for no reason other than they're not sort of towing the correct line. They're extremely anti-establishment. And so people will have to turn to Bitcoin out of desperation. It becomes their only hope.